Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Misfortune updated complete guide for patch 6.2a, the latest patch. But of course, as usual, before you really get into it, don't forget to check out Misfortune's updated basic guide I put up in the cards above right now for skills, leveling order tips and tricks, as well as a couple of combos. But without further ado, let's jump straight into the video. So first off, we're going to talk about the items, right? So personally, this is what I think is the best build for Misfortune right now. I think going for Lethality Boots is the best to kind of take advantage of her strong early game, and then going into the Dustblade. Now, Dustblade, of course, is a very strong item, gives you armor pen, AD, the extra damage that can proc on your Q, as well as, of course, the invisibility when you get a kill. Alright, so next up, we're going to go for Collector. Now, Collector, of course, gives you even more armor pen, gives you crit and AD as well. And now you have the stacking passive of the Collector, allowing you to scale off of crit rate as well as, of course, get an extra 0.1% execute threshold on every kill. Now, honestly, I don't think this makes the item that much better than what we had on the previous patch. Now, of course, like a percentage point and a couple extra 0.x percentage points matters, because it could go like maybe 7% or so in the late game. But overall, I think that is not the most important part. The most important part is the fact it gives both lethality and crit, because you're going to go into crit next, right? So most OB crit item obviously is going to be Bloodthirster. Now Bloodthirster gives you a large amount of AD, gives you the physical vamp, as well as giving you the lifeline passive to give you extra safety when you're low. Then the classic final crit items, i.e. for bonus crit damage, as well as more reminder for armor pen and grievous wounds. And for the runes, I actually think that First Strike is now better than Press the Attack. Now, there was a video that I said Press the Attack is way better than First Strike, and I did firmly believe that at the time, but now with this new build, you're focused a lot on burst damage, and as such, First Strike is basically now going to be better, right? Because you proc that burst damage with the First Strike and deal extra damage and gain gold from it. Right, then standard ADC loadout of Brutal, Giant Slayer, and Alacrity going in then into Bone Plating. And finally for the spells, you want to go for Flash, and the other spell you can go for Cleanse if you need it. Otherwise, Barrier and Exhaust are very, very useful on Misfortune as well. But with all that said, now let's move on to talking about the gameplay. Okay, so now let's move on to taking a look at Misfortune's gameplay. Of course, before we do that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Any questions, queries, or remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Of course, I will be sure to address them. So a couple of things to address here. Now, firstly, number one is, I played this the day before patch 6.2a came out. So this is the pre-nerf Misfortune, and you can kind of see how OP she is. Now, I still believe that with the nerf, this is still probably going to be the best build, going Dustblade into Dustblade into crit, sorry. I do know that a couple of people are building, a lot of top players are building her crit, and some are building her lethality as well. But I like this build personally because I think snowballing with the Dustblade is going to be pretty good. Now, of course, she is a lot weaker now than what she was in the previous patch. As you can see, we chunk out Rakan basically to 0 HP at this point. Now here he's backing. I try to flash Q auto to get the kill, which I do, but unfortunately, I end up flashing into the tower and tanking a tower shot, which allows Xayah to trade the kill 1-for-1 with me, which arguably is not worth, because Xayah gets the kill as well as getting the minions, whereas I lose out on a couple of minions, and I lose my flash as well, right? So arguably not a good deal, right? So the second thing I wanted to cover is, here we have a Amumu support who is currently getting caught out and has to kind of flash away, right? Overall, I'm trying to trade onto the Xayah. Xayah is about to die. Rakan gives her a shield, gives her another shield, and she's not dying. Finally, we get the kill on her with that. And yeah, here Rakan trades with me 1-for-1. So overall, a very, very bloody fight. 3 kills in 1 minute of the game. But at this point, the thing about this situation is, look at my goal versus Xayah's goal. I'm 600 goal up on her because I have 3 kills and 2 deaths. She has 1 kill, 2 assists, and 1 death. But as a result, her wave is now actually pushing into mine and she's losing minions, right? So actually, in the grand scheme of things, because of the wave position, this is a very, very positive trade. Right? She lost out already on a couple of minions there. And yeah, so it kind of all works out well for us here. So, the Amumu who we were trying to talk about just now, of course, is duo with me. So, Amumu MF is a really, really strong combo where, of course, Amumu can ult into MF ult, and Amumu support with MF ADC is a pro play combo. However, Amumu is getting caught out and dying, unfortunately. So, that's that, right? Rakan is actually really, really low, but unfortunately, we can't really do anything. Can't run into 3 people and attempt to make a play. That is just not a very intelligent idea. So instead, we're just gonna stick around and just farm the wave, right? So, you know, MF has a very simple play pattern, basically. In the laning phase, you just want to poke with your Q until you can get an opportunity to all in. And yeah, so in this case, since I got first strike, I'm trying my best not to get hit by any of Xayah's feathers so she doesn't disable my first strike. Of course, there are some matchups where going press the attack is probably going to be better because it's pretty much impossible to avoid your first strike being broken. Champions like Ashe or Caitlyn who are very high range, really difficult, you know, to take first strike against, for example. And sometimes you just got no choice but to take press the attack, which is the better alternative if your first strike is always going to be removed by the enemy team. So here, Rakan, I'm not sure why he's hiding in that bush, but he's going to be taking a bunch of damage, right? Amumu Q's over the wall. I'm just going to ult, attempt to kill him, and that ult forces Rakan's flash because Rakan will get completely roasted inside of the ult if he continues to stick around. Also, there's some kind of weird bug with the replay tool. If you look at the order on the far left hand corner of your screen and the order in the bottom corner of the screen, it goes like Mordekaiser into Heimerdinger and then myself, then Wukong, but that's obviously not the order we have on the bottom of the screen, so that's just really weird bug there. So here Rakan's actually gone for a roam to mid, right? So Amumu's attempting to match the roam, but I think at this point it's kind of too late because the fight has already happened and Amumu actually makes it to the second fight, is able to go in with the ulti and make a difference in the fight, leaving myself and Xayah in a 1v1. Now here, unfortunately I tank all of Xayah's damage with the feathers here. I flash away. I try to flash away from the feather storm, but I'm not able to, and basically eventually we do end up dying 1v1 to the Xayah, which is a little bit unfortunate because that kind of makes it such that Xayah is kind of getting back in the game. You know, even with that kill, Xayah is still 400 gold behind you, which is how far ahead I was, right? Of course, I didn't have Duskblade at the time yet, but I did think I could 1v1 Xayah, but this just proves that MF, even though she's very OP, is not the best 1v1 champion because the only way you can really get a 1v1 successfully is if you hit your Q onto someone beforehand and have a full stack passive onto them. Then the 1v1 becomes very easy, right? Because they take a lot of bonus damage from having that passive on them. And here we just farm Rakan a little bit for free first strike. Go poke him out a little bit, make it harder for him to go in. Here he wants to go in, and he's just going to take a little bit of poke damage for his efforts. He's nearly dead actually, which is kind of funny. Rakan going back in. We're trying to ult him down. He lives on 1 HP and so does Xayah. How lucky are they? Right? You know, one of those classic situations where, you know, you have your enemies living on 1 HP. And now we just clear out the wave. And now Amumu is basically disrupting the backs of Rakan and Xayah, at least for a little bit. Xayah didn't manage to get the reset, but this allows us to actually farm some plates, right? So we may not have been able to get the kills. We still get the plates though. Rakan has TP and TP's back to the lane. We got 3 whole plates, which in this meta, in the snowball meta, of course, is very, very important. Now Rakan looks like he wants to go in. And I'm running out of mana, so I'm actually going to have to take the fruit for a little bit of mana. Now surprisingly, MF doesn't really have a ton of mana problems. Like, compared to like Varus and Lucian, I think MF actually uses less mana now than them, which is pretty funny because MF used to be a very, very mana hungry champion. She still kind of is, but the situation is now way better than what it used to be back in the day. I'm not sure why. Anyways, here Amumu goes in with the ulti. Unfortunately, I'm getting knocked up by Rakan in the meanwhile. Somehow Heimerdinger steals the dragon, and Marcy tanks the entire ulti. Then we get the kill on Xayah, we get the invisibility reset, we're able to walk away from the Ahri, and somehow we managed to escape there with the dragon, with our lives, and even with a couple of kills and assists. Right, so before we back, we're going to quickly clear the wave, shove it under tower, hopefully Xayah loses a minion or two, and then we're going to get the reset. We're really low on health and mana. Of course, we also want to spend the gold that we just got from that kill. And this is going to allow us to recall, pick up the components for Collector, and eventually we're going to be able to get the Collector off of this. So now we're going to waddle our way back to the lane where Xayah and Rakan are both there. Amumu is in the mid lane, and he is, I believe he was spotted on minions, so they probably know I'm alone here, so they could force a dive if they really wanted to, which is why I'm kind of getting a lot of poke on them. So if they dive and tank tower, they could be in danger. Amumu is actually now coming back, and you can see Rakan is really, really low. Because, again, the MF chunking is just a little bit too insane. Amumu with a very, very aggressive position. And that wave gave me enough for Collector, so now I'm just going to back for Collector, not deterred by Xayah attempting to walk up. Sometimes they are not in a position to actually cancel your back, but they're just looking threatening. So sometimes you can just ignore them and just back, whereas sometimes they can actually cancel your back and you have to move away before they deal damage to you. Now speaking of cancelling backs, Xayah gets threatened by Amumu, so has to cancel her back. Once again getting threatened by Amumu, not able to back. Why is she backing in that weird position, right? Is she baiting for her jungler? Or what's going on, right? So I'm gonna get a ward, and there is the Ahri. So here I try to alt flash away, and unfortunately, I got baited. Yep, you guys saw I got well and truly baited there. My team's going in to try to continue the rest of the fight. As you can see here, Ahri lives on 1 HP. Heimerdinger not able to finish the job. Rakan gets a 2-man knockup because the two of them stood together. And all of them are getting out with 1 HP. Yep, no one is going to be dying here. Heimerdinger puts his turret under the tower. Tries to get someone, anyone, but is actually able to get the Rakan, I believe. And because everybody's at top, I'm going to go mid to defend against Master Yi, who's going to get a free tower otherwise. And there I hit a bunch of first strike onto the Master Yi, getting 41 free gold. And of course the first strike gold does add up in the long run. And does give you like, kills worth of gold, 2 kills worth of gold, 3 kills worth of gold, sometimes even 4. So first strike gold does actually matter. Of course, now that we hit basically the mid game where we have like 2 items, of course first strike is now going to be a lot more significant. Now here we're trapping inside the bush for Ahri. Now here Amumu is able to get the trap. Now here I Q auto and Ahri's health bar is nearly entirely gone. Unfortunately, I'm not able to get that last auto, which will probably probably won't kill her, but it's probably gonna put her to like 1 HP if that happens. Now here there's fights on 2 fronts, right? Firstly, Amumu's getting caught by the Xayah Rakan, right? And secondly, Wukong getting caught by the Master Yi Yone. So here we're going in to try to help him out. Master Yi gets ulted, pops the stasis. And here we're trying to focus Master Yi. Master Yi runs, flashes over the wall. Mordekaiser for some reason ults Master Yi, which I'm not sure why you would want to ult Master Yi. When we can probably just get him, right? So here anyways, Master Yi escapes the Death Realm and dies. Don't even know if I got an assist for that one. But yeah, it is what it is. And now we're gonna take this opportunity to push in the mid lane. Now here Yone split pushing in the bottom lane, Amumu's going to clear the wave, Dragon is coming up, and Baron is actually coming up really soon as well. Now of course spawning at 11 minutes ever since patch 6.2. And here Amumu is able to clear the minions with the support item, but runs out of support items, so I'm going to have to clear that minion. Now we're trying to get to Dragon as fast as we can. Now fortunately, MF's Strut passive helps her rotate around the map very, very quickly, so we're able to pretty much reach the Dragon right as the fight starts. Now we get ulted by Yone in the fight, so we end up just basically having to cleanse Flash away when we barely survive, and there's not a lot we can contribute at the moment. But Amumu hits ult, and we're going to just ult over and see if we can hit anybody. I believe we did graze a little bit, and now we're just basically taking a little bit of damage from the very edge of Xayah Feathers, and I realized that there's pretty much nothing I can do at this low of an HP, so instead I'm just gonna go grab the fruit and attempt to save this tower. But with the enemy team now coming, I'm not gonna be able to do it maybe. Actually, they get distracted by going for a kill onto Mordekaiser. Ahri picks up a Quadra, so she probably is gonna be wanting to get me for the Penta. So here, I do a little bit of the classic Penta baiting. Like, I stay kind of close enough into her range that she wants to use spells on me, but not close enough such that I actually get hit by them. Yone now actually coming in. Now, there is a world where Yone tanks the tower for Ahri and Ahri gets the Penta kill, but if that actually happens in solo queue, I will be amazed. Because, like, which solo queue player is going to tank tower for someone else to get a Penta kill, right? Not many. So here, after clearing up all of those minions, we can get a reset, and we actually pick up our Bloodthirster. Now this is, of course, very important, especially if we get caught up by Ahri or Yone, to, of course, survive and get that lifeline passive. Now there's a huge fight with Wukong kind of getting caught out once again. Amumu goes in here. You can see I focus Rakan, Rakan goes down. And Yone nearly dies to me. Here I get rooted. Look at that shield bow, shield saving my life. I get the double, and I'm actually able to get the triple onto the Master Yi shield bow. I'm not shield bow. Bloodthirster is OP. Now every time I see that shield, I'm gonna call it shield bow, right? Because like that used to be the shield bow shield, so I'm just saying shield bow every time I see the shield. But yeah, Bloodthirster, OP item, completely busted. Everyone is dead aside from the Yone, so we're probably gonna be able to get a free Baron. Don't think Yone is gonna come and contest. And there we go. Now, of course, since I just bought the Bloodthirster, if I bag, there's not much I can actually really get. So instead, I'm just going to farm jungle monsters to, number one, regain health, number one, gain gold, but number two, also regain health because we have Bloodthirster. You can see with the help of Bloodthirster, you pretty much can go back up to full health just off of farming. Now here, as I'm doing the camp, I'm kiting toward the fight, which now just happened. I get CC'd by Rakan. I don't think I need to cleanse there because no one was even doing any damage to me. Now here, unfortunately, my ult somehow hits nobody despite 4 people being in front of me, and I get caught out, and I do end up dying, unfortunately. And that was not very good, right? 4 people on my team died, and that is a huge goal swing in the game and a huge goal injection for the enemy team, getting the shutdowns and just getting us off of the map. Now Heimerdinger, of course, is the only one alive, just basically clearing the waves. Nothing too much is happening here. Fortunately, there are no objectives. Heimerdinger tries to flash forward for the kill on Ahri, but unfortunately Ahri is able to escape and not get hit by all of the Heimerdinger bullets, so it does actually survive. And here Rakan, I'm not sure what he's doing. I'm not sure what Amumu's doing. What was that flash? But Rakan just completely engages when no one's even close by and gets caught out, obviously just dies. And here Amumu getting a little bit caught out himself. Doesn't have ult for a couple more seconds. And yeah, of course not much is happening here. Wukong does get the kill on Master Yi, but enemy team rotates up to trade the kill. So overall it's jungle for jungle, which is an okay trade, I guess, but Master Yi is not going to spawn 5 seconds before. Now here, I'm not sure why 3 people just walked into an Amumu and just gets ulted. I get a free double kill, and Xayah is limping away at 1 HP. Now Rakan once again tries to engage when there's no one around, allowing me to get yet another kill. That's 158 first strike goal, by the way, onto the Rakan there. Now Xayah is the only person left alive to defend, so this should be a done deal. But unfortunately, my team is just backing off. I think we could have ended the game there, right? There are decently long enough death timers on the enemy team. And I think we could have just ended the game. I honestly think we could have ended the game. But instead, we're backing off. We're going to go for the dragon. Is what it is. And we get the Ocean Soul, right? Which is something. It's not that significant, but it is something. And here we also complete the IE, putting us to 4 full items, but not yet full crit, of course, because we do need that more reminder. We also pick up a Stasis as well as the Last Whisper. Of course, Stasis is very, very handy against the enemy team to try to not get caught out. And now I'm basically just waiting behind my team to see if a fight breaks out, which it does, and I'm just trying to get off my damage as the fight happens. Huge damage from me, just, yeah, I'm not sure what to say, it's just huge damage overall. And, yeah, we're rolling over the enemy team at this point. Master Yi is split pushing, Rakan is 1 HP. Master Yi gets some bounties from the turrets he destroys, but at this point we're knocking on his base, so I don't think you want to be split pushing when that's happening. And here he has GA and he has Stasis. He's trying to stop us from winning the game, but he can't 1v5. And here I was trying to end the game. Then I realized we can kill him first, so I actually walk away from the Nexus, and Heimerdinger ends the game instead. So that's fine. Anyways, I'm gonna leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.